Well, that didn't work out quite as well as I wanted to, but here we are. Hi, folks. This is Autist, Autism and Veterans Commonalities and Differences. We are live on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, and everywhere you think you can look us up, I'm assuming. So I'm not ever good at introductions. And so, I'm just going to play it the way I am. And that's how it goes. And I'm sure Adam and them are just laughing like no other in the background. But that's all good. That's all good. So today I have with me my friend and amazing mentor, inspiration, Andrea Evans. Literally, she lives 2 miles from me. So I figured I needed to have a conversation with Andrea. So we're going to do it live on the Mental Health Warriors. So, it's one of those where if you can't get a hold of somebody, just go ahead and make them a guest on your show. And so we can work with this. So, Andrea, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you do.
Hi, my name's Andrea Evans, and I do everything, I guess. I mean, I could sit here and have a long list of things that I do, but I'm a mother first, and I'm a daughter. I'm about my family, but when I'm out in the community, which is our village, I'm doing the anti-bullying restorative talking circles and eliminating bullying in our community. I have been going out and enjoying bringing my talent of poetry writing to the table. So I have a MMIR, Missing Murdered Indigenous Relatives, coming up on the 28th of this month from 1, I believe, to 5 p.m. over at on 33rd. Come on, Andrea, you know the place. At I could see it right there in front of me, but it's over on 33rd. I can't think of the name of it, but I apologize. But I'll be doing some definite, putting some information out there if you want to know more about it. I'm going to do a poem. I was asked to do a speech, but I'm making my speeches into poems. So, yeah.
And that's what I like about you is, you do a lot of stuff, but you put it to written poems. And so it makes things for folks like myself who's autistic easier to understand. And I think that's where you and I kind of connect, where one person might be struggling and somebody has something positive to say. And I really enjoy watching how your words to you mean one thing, but to me, they mean another thing. And so we collaborate a little bit differently. And, what one doesn't think of, the other one does. So I really like that about the two of us. And I think what a lot of people don't understand is you and I live in the same neighborhood, but we have different views, but our views align in the long run. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, they do. And we can learn so much from one another because, everybody has a perspective. There's so many different perspectives. And what I like about us is we're able to accept one another's, perspective. You know what I mean? We respect it, as a learning for each of us. That's what I love about us is how we, like you said, we mesh. We mesh well.
Yeah, we do, and it's kind of interesting because I've connected with a couple of your family members, and and they've asked me a few questions, and so I try to answer them. I had a question about getting some information for dyslexia and stuff, and so I have just enough resources that I think I sent 2 pages to Aaron, and so that's the fun part about you and I is we have people we connect with and are able to see each other's backgrounds through another lens too. That's really fun. I know I'm learning more and more about missing and indigenous people because I don't know if you friended her, but Trish that I had on for my very first show, if you haven't friended her, she is along the same lines in
Okay.
in Canada. So you might want to friend her because her background is a lot like yours. So
Why don't you recommend me to her?
I
Yes.
I have, I have,
Okay.
I have.
I don't
Um,
even know. Okay, give me the name again then so I could go look for it.
it's Trish, Trish, happens, Happens.
Okay. I think I've
And
seen it and didn't
yeah,
know who it was.
yep. And
Okay.
she's also connected with Grayson and Evie and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
but she does a lot of the same stuff you do in Canada.
Cool. Yeah, I'll definitely. I'm on it. Look, I want to
So
pick up my phone and do it right now, but I won't.
it's all it's all good. You know, you got to have a little fun with it. But I am learning more about that area that at one point I never knew a lot about until I met you, and now I've met Trish. And so, you know, that gives me an opportunity to expand that way. I
Well,
know.
Trish said hi. Hi, Trish.
See, see that's her. That's the girl.
That's her. Yes, I got it.
Yep, yep. So, yep, it's she's a unique lady, and she will definitely be able to collaborate with you. And I know she's reached out to me to possibly do some stuff with her. So, hey, who knows? Maybe we can get Trish to join StreamYard and jump in with us, and we can do some stuff with her in Canada.
Yeah,
So,
that'd be cool. I'm
so,
down. When I get
so,
my radio show up here, I'm working on it. Everybody gonna be on my show. Everybody. I'm just y'all are building the community for me. I appreciate you so much.
yeah, your mom says I'm awesome, but you
You
know,
are awesome.
and I have to share with you guys on that. You know, I know Andrea and I have known each other for a little while now, but I don't think people understand that before I actually started branching out and took classes with Grayson Marshall Jr., who is another person that you can get a hold of that's just amazing, is I never heard the words colleague, inspiration, friend, um, uh, you know, just all those words that empowers people. You know, for me that was really hard to understand, and people are like, you need to be out there more. I literally had a text message from a friend of mine that purchased one of my books. He goes he says to me, let me grab this real quick. Do do do. So he says to me, he goes, your books and you need to be out there. It can be 9 months or 9 years. I'll always remember the person that had the strength and the determination to put out not only their struggles on paper, but the training to help develop those with the same struggle. My hat's always off to you. Never heard words like that. So, you know, when people say that, I don't know, sometimes I don't know how to react to that. So, you know, it's one of those where it's like, you have to, I'm not used to accolades.
I'm not either.
And
I'm
so,
not. And you know what? The other thing on the other end that I wasn't used to, I love being an example and an inspiration for people, but I guess I don't really, like you said, it's this is new, you know. And so when I inspire somebody and they follow me or do, you know, end up in the same spot or do the same thing, you know, based on how I moved to help them move, I used to be looking at that kind of like, well, dang, why are they following me? But it's like, I'm
yeah,
laughing at myself. But, you know, and then I have to say, okay, Andrea, that's what you're here for. That's what y'all do. You know what I mean? Y'all lift each other up and you're not used to it on such a big level. You know what I mean? We're on a whole new
right.
level. And so I get it from both ends. You know, I had to kind of, like you said, I had to look at other people's perspectives and ask for feedback to help me through those times. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah,
I don't understand either. I just sit there and look kind of blank at them.
yeah.
Say
And
thank you.
yeah, you say thank you and you walk away and you kind of go,
Hmm.
how am I supposed to take that? You know, and And even people that maybe have been negative to you before. I mean, I have friends on Facebook that I've known, throughout high school, um, um, that bullied me, and now are like, "Whoa!"
Mm-hmm.
They sit there and they look at you. Um, that you don't. Yeah, it's kind of one of those where it's like, I know we grow up, but you think a lot of people hold a lot of bitterness, but we also have to
Mm-hmm.
remember kids are rude.
Mm-hmm.
They're blank rude. They're to
Mm-hmm.
the point. They're gonna don't ask them how you think your hair looks because they're gonna
Mm-hmm.
tell you it looks like this or like that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I have that happened to me today. Because I asked for prayer for my family the other day. And when I got in there and looked at the people who were praying and saying that they were praying, one of them was one of my bullies from grade school.
Isn't that funny?
You speak on it, and I mean, the universe, it's like it just happened to me before I got on this show.
Right. So I have a funny story along that lines. I was working at Walmart, and I'd probably been with the company for about a year, and they have gatherings. Now, at that time, I was like, I didn't want anything to do with anybody because I wasn't real good at speaking up at that time. And we're talking 20 plus years ago. And we always go around to introduce new people. Well, there's this new person that came in and he said his name. And I'm like, are you serious? Are you serious? He was my high school bully. I kid you not, in my high school. So when they get around to me, I said, well, I'm Mary Nixon Hahn, da 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 da. And this guy's jaw was like glass. If it would have broke, you know. And so he literally spent the whole first night apologizing to me for everything that he ever done to me. But on the same hand, I was big enough to tell him, I said, Mark, I said, we all do grow up.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, you have to leave everything in the past and move forward. But it was so funny because, like, dude, this is my high school bully. What are y'all doing to me? Why are you
Wow.
hiring this dude? So
Wow.
it's amazing how God brings everything 360 degrees
Oh my
from where it
goodness.
was at,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I know I wasn't on last week, and I'm going to touch on this a little bit. Sometimes people are like, well, you could have recorded your show and stuff. Oh, no, because I don't like recording shows because I barely do this very good. you
Mm-hmm.
know, you know, you, people need to know when to take a break, family struggles and stuff. Um, it's one of those where you have to know when to take time. And I know, um, having bounced many things off you, sitting on your magical porch and meeting your aunt and stuff, um, when you deal with a lot of stuff like obviously you're dealing with and stuff, what is your major go-to?
My family, my elders, my mother, my auntie, my children, yeah, those that, yeah,
Yeah,
that's my go-to. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I have a wonderful network of people, and you know what? I just started utilizing you in that manner. You understand? I wasn't able to do that. I'm just now able to reach out and say, hey, you guys, I'm not okay. That's why I'm the empathy and vulnerability warrior, because I'm working on it every day. And so that's what I do. And God is first. That's a given. You know what I'm saying, in my life. So, but I go to those things, my spirituality, my ancestors, my teachings, of life on how to overcome these things.
yeah, and I think and and I know both of us have heard this a lot. It starts with us,
Hmm.
and setting the boundaries. And even though we've had a whirlwind last couple weeks, and probably we'll still go ahead and have that whirlwind, we have to know when to stop and walk away. And my biggest thing was because I didn't feel important enough, I had to continue because I had to keep putting information out there when that's not always true. If people genuinely know who you are, then they can just message you and say, hey, I don't know what's going on, but you need to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Like my husband will tell me that too. Oh, wait,
Mm-hmm.
stop. But you need to have those people that can put that stop sign up there,
That's
because,
my mom.
you
She'll
know,
cry. She'll break down and cry. You know what I mean? And say,
mhm,
Fressy, you know what I mean? You need to stop. You need to slow down. And guess what? That's going to make me do it, isn't it? Because I love her and she's crying. So it's
mhm.
serious. You know what I mean? That means I do need to slow down. I didn't mean to
Yeah.
cut you off, Mary,
No,
but
no, you're no,
I
not cutting
felt
me.
that. I felt what you were saying. You know what I'm
No, no.
saying? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, your mom's got some good comp. You know, your mom says she knew my face from Walmart and where I'd see you. And then she goes, she told me to get out of her head because she was thinking the same thing you were saying. You know, it's one of those where it's one of those, uh,
Being still,
yep,
she said.
and
We need to listen
yeah,
to our creator. Yeah.
yeah, it's one of
Hmm.
those where, you have those moments of, wait, and I reference it to like the hair standing on your arm. It's God going,
Hmm.
you either need to stop or you need to keep going because somebody needs one more sentence or one more thing that you have to say.
Hmm.
And sometimes you sit there and you go, what was that? Wait, wait, wait. Okay, God,
Hmm.
and there might be not be anybody around, and maybe that's just a sign to stop and be still and know. So you said you have some trainings coming up. I'm pretty excited to hear about them. At some point, I'm going to get to see you live. Besides sitting here on, I my schedules and your schedules sometimes don't always coordinate, and I'm a little bit bashful sometimes because it's one of those where it's like, what do I do? And
Hmm.
I'm never good at picking what I should do that day, depending upon what I got going on. So you got some trainings coming up. You want to explain a little more about them?
Sure. Thank you. Well, in the midst of all this, I have a training this evening with the Lancaster County Democratic Party on how to better serve Black, Indigenous people of color as well as the LGBTQIA plus community. So I was getting my presentation together before I got on here. And then this morning I got a call from St. Monica's to fill in for someone that wasn't able to make it for tomorrow's speak. And so tomorrow I will also be speaking on culture and equity and microaggressions tomorrow morning at 8:15. And then on the 30th of this month, I will be training Department of Behavioral Health executives how to better serve Black, Indigenous people of color. And we'll have a series of a 5 module series. So I'll have 5 modules training their executives starting on the 30th. And then in September, oh, I have something else, excuse me. August 28th, I have, let's see what it is. Look, I got my calendar, the MMIR at City Impact. Couldn't even think of it. It's right here in front of me on my calendar, where we will be doing the missing, murdered Indigenous, its relatives. And that's from 1 to 4, so on the 28th. And then at Innovation Campus, September 16th, I'll be doing a breakout session for the National Association of Social Workers on the adaptation of my anti-bullying restorative talking circles. And then I'll be doing September 25th, I'll be doing Streets Alive from 1 to 4 in the university place, which I bring music therapy and we do dance, line dances, like the Cupid Shuffle.
Oh
And I
yeah.
call those the inclusion, everybody, in solidarity of whatever the event is, and we'll dance together. So those are a lot of the things that I have coming up.
Ooh. Is this where I say I want to be like Andrea, kind of like the commercial? I want to be like Mike. you
You are.
I can appreciate that. I get moments where I'm super busy, and then I get those moments where my husband kind of looks at me like, "What are you doing?" I'll plug in my phone because it's just like getting rid of people. It's like, okay, I'm done with my questions for a while because I need to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
laughs at me because I'll just put my phone on the charger and walk away. What are you doing?
Exactly.
I'm done. I need an hour. I need to watch a video or I need to go just veg.
When I
So
came home yesterday from the hospital with my child, I put my phone on the charger, like you said, Mary, and I kept it there for the rest of the evening until I woke up this morning. That's hard to do sometimes, but I did it. I had to. Had to. Like you said, you have to.
if it's important, they'll call you. And now, okay, I will ignore
No,
messages.
they'll call my kids. They know I got children around. If it's important and they can't, they're going to call my children. Are you by your mom? Yeah, quit it. You already know.
Yeah, for me, it's like, the questions can wait. But if I get a phone call, I'm going to answer that phone call. And now that I put myself out there, watch, here comes the phone calls, but
Mm-hmm.
whatever works.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's one of those things where if it's something it will wait. There's not,
Mm-hmm.
if it can wait, it will wait for my sanity and probably for theirs too, because sometimes I still revert back to where I'm that defensive, angry person,
Mm-hmm.
which is a consistent work. We all know
Yes,
that.
it is. Yes, I understand totally. I mean, I know from experience is what I'm saying.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and that's one of those things is with the mental health part of it. And I know you and I've discussed a lot of different things, and I've got something huge coming up, which I'll share with you in private, but I won't
Okay.
blast it out here. But
Okay.
that literally is I'm taking two dynamics of veterans and autism, and you and I've kind of already covered that a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and now I'm putting it all on paper,
Oh,
and so
it's a
yeah.
it's a plan.
Well, you're taking two spectrums as far as veterans
Mm-hmm.
and autism
Mm-hmm.
and any underlying issues, and we know there's a lot in both communities,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of people affected by both communities, and so I'm really excited to get that going. And so, if anybody's listening that has I still need to interview a few veterans on my program. So, if you have somebody, I know your Uncle Aaron's a veteran. I
I
could
was
probably,
getting ready to say that. I was going to say, get Unc on the show. Get my Papa Unc on. Uncle
yeah,
Aaron, come on.
yeah, and
He's a veteran.
yep. So it's a little tougher to get veterans because the ones that I know are already engaged, and so I have to kind of wait my turn.
I
I'm
understand.
I'm a patient person. Hey, you know what? If all else fails, I can come on here and we can do a chapter in my book. So I have plenty of material to work with. It's the
Mm-hmm.
biggest thing is being patient, and I think you have your empathy and vulnerability warrior. I'm about to change mine to humbleness, humble leadership is where I like to go with mine.
I like that.
I'm a side by side of that. Yeah. Come with me. We'll do this together. I've always been told to do stuff by myself, and I don't like that because what if I don't do it right? And
That's
so
how you learn, sis.
if I've learned anything in 20 plus years of retail, you learn how to do it, and then you go ask questions. And then after you figure out their corrections, you just let it go. And if there's a problem, they're going to come get you anyway. So, so I prefer to walk side by side, and that's why I keep saying, man, I need to go see Andrea in person, but things just don't line up. Got to get it there, and I'm not worried
Yeah, we're
about it.
going to get there. Yes, yes, yes.
But it's one of those where I love watching you because it's not that you're visible like I'm visible, and I'm not going to compare because each of us are visible on different levels.
Yes, yes,
But I'm you know me well enough. I'm a body language and facial expression and tone of voice. I love to hear what people have to say to other people.
yes.
Now, do I think I need to achieve that goal? No, because you and I are totally two different people.
That's right.
But in the end, our both our visions have the same ending, is to have people come together, accept people for who they are and where they're at,
Mm-hmm.
as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to judging a book by its cover.
Thank you.
Really, if you don't turn the first page, how are you going to know? Right?
That's right. I tell people to know me is to love me, honey.
Yeah.
If you give me a chance, give me a chance.
Right. Or mine. I used to be like, love me or hate me. I still have chapters to my life. The people that love you are going to support you. The people that don't necessarily like you, they're still going to listen because they're going to figure out a way to mess with you, and that's cool because you know what, I'm ready, just
Thank
like
you.
you. I
Yeah.
Game on.
What? But it's going to be a learning experience for them.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? I used to be, cussing people out and checking them like that, but I've changed from coming in that way. Even with my own children, learning with the first ones, it's like hollering at them. You know what I mean? And when my children pull me aside and say, "Mom, why are you hollering?" And I have to really sit there for a minute when I grew up some more and said, "Why am I?" I don't
Oh,
have to come in a storm. I don't have to
right,
come like that. Yeah,
right. And if one kid's done something wrong, there's no need to punish them in front of the other kids.
that's right.
You come to my room, we have a discussion, and it's done. you
That's right.
know it's the same way when you're working with somebody. Like, if I disagree with you, I'm not going to call you out in front of 100 people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you and I know each other well enough, we know how to agree to disagree on top of it, and I've become much better at that. uh,
Respectfully.
yeah. and
Mm-hmm.
and I always talk about practicing the pause. So the way I've learned to practice the pause for me is, I think it in my head, I tell it to my heart. Now that you've had time to tell it to your heart, now say something. So that
Mm-hmm.
gives you 5 to 10 seconds to rethink about a possible anger statement, as opposed to being a polite statement.
And when it goes to your heart, I have a question. I see it coming to my heart, but it's hurtful to my heart, probably the way that they're coming to me sometimes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. When it hits me in my heart like that, sit with it for a minute. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming for you. You know what I'm saying? Right then. And just taking that moment that kind of gives me a perspective.
I think the biggest thing is, you and I've talked about this before, and the the autism community that I am, everybody wants to put you in a box. I used to take and tell them, "Oh, I don't need a box." "Oh no, go ahead and put me in that box, because you know what? You know how many angles are in a box?" So I've learned to see from different angles, and I'm not probably your normal person. I literally can sit in the middle and I can see many different angles. So, if you want to put me in a box, hey, you know what? There's at least four corners in a box. So that gives me how many angles? Um, and so when I do that, when I think it in my head, tell it to my heart, and then speak it, I think the biggest thing for me is perspective. In that few seconds,
That makes sense.
what positive perspective can I come up with and not be angry, and leave them with a positive or a different perspective other than anger. And so,
So now, being the empathy and vulnerability warrior that I have become, that's how I come in from the heart and say, that hurt me.
mhm,
Being, and like you said, not coming in anger, but just being true and genuine from my heart, probably almost in tears,
yeah,
saying that hurt me,
yeah,
being able to do that. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So, it's one of those things where it's like, it's one of those things where, there's so many things in my life I did let hurt me. Let's
Hmm.
face it. I'm 55. I'm not much. Yeah, I think you're a couple years older than I am, but
Yeah,
you
yeah. I'm
know,
57. Yeah,
so
birthday coming up.
I just celebrated double nickel, as my mom used to say. But it's one of those things where it's like you sit there and you realize, and literally, I can tell you, Andrea, just before I left Walmart is when I lost my parents 7 years ago, 4 months apart, four
Mm,
months apart, exact days, February
mm,
28th and June 28th.
mm,
That's
mm,
when
mm,
God started shifting. You shouldn't be yelling at your kids. You shouldn't
mm,
be yelling at your kids in front of your kids.
mm,
And you need to rethink how you talk to your husbands. And,
mm,
I could go off on another tangent about how guys are differently sensitive compared to you and I as females.
mm,
Because I've got all brothers and I was in the military and I have all boys. So I could give you a few tips on you have every morning for an hour, I let my husband vent about his work night
mm,
because it helps him not only manage his things, but it helps him sleep
mm,
because it turns off once he talks about it, he turns it off.
mm.
Lord willing. Some days not so easy, but you know, again, it's just about seeing the different angles and you talk about the little lights at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes when you're thinking in that pause moment, God's going to give you a little light so that you're not sticking your foot in your mouth, or at least in
Mhm,
my case,
mhm,
he's
mhm,
sticking my size 9 in my mouth.
mhm. Sometimes he tells me, "Get them."
Yeah. Oh, yep. Every once in a while, you feel that. Go,
He
go.
says, "Get them," because this is the time, and this is what they need right now. What you getting ready to give them, and it's not going to be hurtful. I'm mindful. You know what I'm saying? But I might come with a little,
Yep.
just a
And
little
it,
kick.
your mom's right. It sometimes, like you just said, it's okay to let people know how you feel.
Hmm.
Okay. Yep. Most of the times I'm pretty decent about it, but if it's somebody that's been basically poking the bear for how long, it's like, okay, you know what? You've asked for what you're about
That's
to
what it
get.
is.
Like, seriously.
Yes, you get me. Yeah, that's what I'm
Yeah.
talking about.
So, but yep, it's one of those things where you just have to be yourself. And, you know, I've, I'm really glad I just had a conversation with you so that people can understand where you and I come from. And, even your mom and Trish has jumped in here. And,
Hmm.
I think people need to understand that even though we live in the same community, we see this community different, but
Hmm.
our end goal is to be together.
Hmm.
Now, we're still drawing strings and drawing straws out of the hat. And I think the biggest thing is the fun part for me is seeing you with Adam and listening to you and Adam on Thursday, or listening to Adam yesterday. I don't know if you
Hmm.
caught his
Hmm.
replay on his show. You know, speaking the harsh truth about who you are as a person and
Hmm.
where I'm going. And in all
Hmm.
reality, if you
Hmm.
take off your cover and realize that what you see here is not the actual book.
Hmm.
And so
Hmm.
yeah, and
Hmm.
yeah, I feel like I know your mom back and forth because your mom's uh always on Thursday, and I love listening to her,
Hmm.
and just reading her comments. And from my view, I see your mom a lot in you
Hmm.
and your aunt.
Hmm.
And and that's a good thing because we know who your spiritual guides are.
Yes.
And for me, that speaks volumes to me. And when I do on those few occasions come sit on your porch,
Hmm.
you can feel the presence of not just you, your mom, and your aunt because
Hmm.
of how you speak, how you approach everything, and I can appreciate that.
Hmm.
So
I'm in tune with the birds, and today I went in. Auntie and I went and sat on the porch this morning and saw a beautiful red bird, and she said hi to me and went on up in the trees, and the ancestors, that's what it is. I'm out there looking at birds and hearing them. Some people come and sit on my porch with me. They don't get it, Mary. They're like, what bird? What are you talking about? Like, what is she
Yeah.
talking about?
Or that one that flies past my head and you're like, oh, there goes the red bird. And I'm like, literally 10 minutes late by the time you turn your head.
Yes, I'm seeing them. Yeah, they
So,
approach. So you're right. It does go back to the ancestors. You're never alone.
right, right. And I can appreciate that. And so in closing, I've got somebody I need to say goodbye to because he's getting ready to head off to work. And that's just part of our family ritual. My middle
That's what
son,
you got to do.
my
Yes.
middle son leaving for work, and I'm not sure, but I think my husband's already laying down. But, in closing, what's one thing you want to leave the folks that are listening or will listen later to?
You know, live your best life. Let go of everything that doesn't serve you, in a positive manner, and raise your vibration. It's August. It's highest vibrational month of the year. So try
Yes.
to keep positive thoughts, even though you might be going through some things. Yeah, don't stay stuck there. Do what you got to do there, and then take care of yourself. Make sure you do that. That's what I want to say. You
Um,
can't do nothing for nobody else unless you take care of you.
right, right. Nope, I totally understand. Is if we can't take care of our first selves first, how do you deal with your kids? How do you deal with your husbands? How do you deal with people who need your attention? But at that
Hmm.
moment, you're like,
That's
I'm
right.
done. So, all right, girl, hang with me. I'm going to go ahead and end. And thank you all for listening today. And
Thanks
share
for
this.
having me.
Yep, yep. Share this out with everybody, and maybe somebody can have a little fun with it. And however it works, it works.
It's working.